Welcome to the PrePost Film Review. I'm Matthew Stevenson.
And I'm Jon Asquith. So, for this episode, we're going to be talking about the new animated film from the Laika animation studios called the Boxtrolls. So, what you're going to hear first is our spoiler-free discussion on the trailer, where we talk about our expectations and our impressions. And then you're going to hear us come back into the studio after the film has been released. And that's more of a sort of review and discussion on the film itself. And just a warning that is chock full of spoilers. So don't listen to that until you've seen the movie.
Correct.
Because you will get the movie spoiled for you. And that's just not fun. So first off, we're going to hear our trailer thoughts. Let's do it.
In the town of Cheesebridge, when all good citizens are safe inside, beastly creatures roam the night.
Boxtrolls! Boxtrolls are monsters!
At least, that's what everyone's been told. Welcome to the magical world of the Boxtrolls, where one lucky boy lives happily with his unusual family.
Okay, so we've just watched the new trailer for the film Boxtrolls, the stop-motion animation film from the studio that did Coraline and Paranorman. How do you think this looks, Jon?
I think this looks really fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm a big fan of Coraline, which these guys did. I think it's pronounced Laika.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah. I haven't seen Paranorman yet, but I really want to.
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't seen it either.
But yeah, I think it looks great. What I really like about these guys is, firstly, the stop motion looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, almost too good in a way. You know, it's
faked, you mean?
It's almost CG smooth. You know, it's almost as smooth as that. But then you see these little touches of the hand crafted sort of nature of it. So yeah, just the general style and animation technique is really cool, and I like that they tackle slightly darker, spookier, I guess.
That's true.
Concepts.
Coraline certainly is.
Yeah.
And Paranorman looks like it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's always this kind of supernatural-esque like creepy sort of side to it, which is really cool because a lot of pretty much every other animated feature out there is this, shiny, clean sort of fun adventure, and they're great. Like How to Train Your Dragon. I guess that has some dark stuff, but yeah, I just like the way they
spooky feel. Of
the way they approach it, and I think it's cool for I guess I don't want to say kids movies. I hate it when people say that, but for animated features to tackle stuff that's a little darker, like it's just interesting.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, so I don't have too many other thoughts, really, other than I'm really looking forward to it. What about you? I've got a couple of thoughts on the trailer itself, but
I guess I feel pretty similar to you. I love stop motion animation, so that's a huge plus. I like to see everything that's stop motion that I haven't seen Paranorman, but instantly because it's stop motion that gets me interested straight away. There's just something, a tactile sense to stop motion that you just can't replicate with computer animation.
Yeah, totally.
I love.
Yeah, it looks really good in 3D too. I think.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point.
Suits that.
I saw Coraline in 3D, and it's one of the very few films that I think enhanced the viewing experience.
Because you can feel the like you're looking at like this little
like
diorama. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes it feel like a miniature. And it's great.
I totally agree. And I agree. I like the kind of spooky themes that they deal with in their films. I guess I'm a little bit hesitant in terms of the design of the film. It's got that kind of dirty, cluttered aesthetic that I don't really like.
You're not a big fan of. Yeah.
The Terry Gilliam-esque like wacky contraption. Though having said that, I think it works better in an animated film than it does in something like Brazil or Snowpiercer. It suits that kind of film a lot better. So hopefully it won't be a distraction when I'm actually watching it. But there was when I saw that, I got a little bit worried. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't have amazingly high expectations.
No,
the trailer
me
didn't
neither.
blow me away.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be fun.
Yeah, it looks fun and visually appealing. I feel like the trailer does give too much away, though. Like we watched the first. We've just watched the first official trailer,
Full length
trailer. Yeah. And it feels like you can plot the whole film out from seeing that, which is disappointing, and seems to be the case as we're discovering with animated feature sort of trailers.
Yeah.
They like to give away a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I guess you don't really expect many huge plot twists and crazy stuff to happen.
No, that's true.
So when you make a trailer for an animated film, because it's such a simple story, a lot of the time it's easy to give the whole story away.
Yeah.
Even if you're just briefly summarising it. But I agree, it does feel like we know basically everything. And I guess that's also one of the negatives about the film, is that it doesn't look like it's doing anything new in terms of story. Like, it's a pretty traditional fish out of water, someone that's lived with these trolls all his life now has to try and integrate into human society.
Yeah, exactly.
And then protect the trolls that everyone thinks are bad, but they're actually these lovable,
and
characters.
in the end, they'll learn to coexist
exactly
or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I think, you're right. The visual design is the most original aspect of it, potentially.
Yeah, well, and just the fact that it's stop motion.
That's right. We're excited, but there's not too much more to really sort of pick.
I guess I'm a little bit worried also. I sound like I'm really negative, but the little box trolls themselves give off a bit of a, like, Minions vibe.
Yeah, right.
Like, they're just these cute little things that make... They don't seem to speak in the trailer, right? They just make, like, weird grunty noises.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Like, their own strange language, which is weird, seeing as the boy can apparently speak English.
Yeah.
That they raised. Anyway, I hope there's
really good point.
more to them than just these...
Like, look how funny they are doing stupid things.
Little creatures that make funny squeaking noises and hold up plungers instead of clothes and then get annoyed when they get told off.
I really hope it doesn't go too far down that path.
That would be my only other concern.
Yeah. We'll see, I guess.
But other than that, I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be good.
They transform treasures into incredible inventions. Careful never to be seen.
Who's there?
By human eyes.
I want every box troll gone.
Let's go!
Okay, here we are back in the studio after seeing the Boxtrolls.
Yes.
The feature film from Laika Animation Studios.
Is that how you pronounce it? Laika?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we went over that in the trailer. And I was just wondering, Matt, what your general impressions were.
I feel really bad saying this, but I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I really wanted to like it a lot because I really like their other films. I actually watched Paranorman last night.
Oh, cool.
To catch up on it because I'd only seen Coraline. And loved that. And I remember really liking Coraline, but it has been a while since I saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boxtrolls just didn't work for me. If
I'm
honest with myself, I think I just didn't think it was a very good film.
Oh man.
I guess I didn't hate it. I don't want to come off as too negative.
Yeah.
There were parts of it that I liked. The stop motion animation was incredible. Like, it looks amazing. But just in terms of the story and the characters and the gags, even the design to an extent, just didn't work for me.
Okay, interesting.
I guess we can go into a little bit more detail in a bit. But what did you think, John?
I really, really liked it.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty amazing film. I agree that it's not as good as Coraline, and I still haven't seen Paranorman. But it was so unique when you compare it to other animated fare, and like the trailers that I saw before it for this like CGI kids films.
That was terrible. Actually, they're the same ones.
They looked really bad and cheap, and like just really bland design. And then this movie came up, and it was like, this is so nice. I haven't really seen stuff like this before. in a big like kind of multiplex setting, and except for Laika's other films, like they all have that. I think we were talking about in the trailer thing. They all have that dark kind of edge to them, and this one really does. Like this is like kind of gross in parts.
See, that's what I didn't like. I didn't think it was a fun darkness. It was this grossness to it.
Well, I know,
found it really unappealing.
I don't know. I found it appealing, like I in a gross way, kind of like when British humor goes like that sometimes. Like I feel like Monty Python did that really well.
Teeth and the slobbering everywhere.
Yeah, exactly, and like harsh accents and like bleak weather, and it just felt really British in a good way, like old school British comedy kind of.
Yeah, it's
it made me think of Monty Python a little bit at times, I guess. But yeah, I found that I really liked all the characters in it, particularly like the villain. I thought he was awesome and so well written, and the goons under him were like had dimension to them. They weren't just goons, and they thought they were the good guys for most of the movie. I love
that. That was my favourite thing in the film, actually. And then in my notes is the two characters that I thought actually had like a character arc.
Yeah.
They were I agree with that.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah. I really liked them. The main boy was like it wasn't perfect. I think his character actually didn't connect with me that much.
Yeah,
and
that's the problem.
I really wanted to connect with him, and all the stuff at the end with his dad and everything just felt kind of weird and didn't quite work as an emotional climax at all. But overall, just to sum up my general thoughts, like I really had a great time watching this, and I was just like in awe of the animation, and I found the characters really interesting. Like there's so many mean characters in this movie, and like neglectful parents and stuff. Like I don't know, you just don't normally see that.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think anything meaningful was done with any of that. I think like I don't know, none of that connected with me. Like if anything, I was just annoyed that I didn't like anyone in this film. The only nice or the main guy you kind of root for in a general sense, but even he was pretty bland, I thought.
What about the daughter?
Yeah, again, I don't know. I kind of disliked her at the start. Like, she's fucking psychotic. Like,
I thought that was really funny. Like, she's obsessed with the Boxtrolls, and she has this macabre sense of wonder and humor to her. And then, like, she gets down there, and she's like, if you're gonna eat me, go on. I'm probably delicious. Like, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood to laugh at things, but I didn't find any of that funny, and I thought like maybe that was going to play towards something larger, and I don't know whether they were trying with that at the end when she was on the stage and the dad's kind of like accepts her as a weirdo, and it was like is that going to be is that what they're trying to do, like be this whole message about being yourself or whatever? But I don't think that worked. I guess the biggest problem I had with the film is that I didn't think it was about anything. It didn't have any big thematic resonance for me.
Yeah, I suppose you could make an argument for the Boxtrolls representing like some minority group or something, like that there's these myths and whatever about them, and then they learn to live together and realize like that's okay and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, we picked that up from the trailer. That's just the basic sense of them being outsiders, and then
but that's enough,
them.
Isn't it?
But I mean, I don't know. They didn't do anything to. There was kind of this sense that they were inventors, but you never saw them invent anything. They lived in a shithole. They had a thing that sucked people up, a tube.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
I did think that actually.
I thought that there should have been something that helped them integrate with the wider world, or I don't know, some link that connected the two together in a narrative sense, instead of them just being like, these guys are misunderstood. Oh, look, they're actually not evil. Let's get naked and run around at the end.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like, it's not perfect, and I'll probably give it more of a pass than you, it sounds like, just on a kind of basic level for some reason, because I maybe enjoyed it more. But yeah, that's true. I was thinking that. And another negative, actually, is this weird kind of like time-lapse sequence towards the beginning where you see the boy growing up with the trolls and stuff playing the song just felt really flat and awkward to me, and I felt like they were obsessed with this shot of one of the trolls playing like a saw, like an instrument. Because cut back to that like 15 times in this montage, and it's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, he's played a saw.
Yeah, and I wanted that to be like a I guess like the king of all those sorts of montages is like Up, you know, where it's like,
oh yeah, well,
you know, I know that's
incredible.
an unfair comparison, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
You know, it didn't really show that much, and that's where they could have had the inventions and like showing what they're actually doing down there, other than just smashing stuff and
yeah, exactly right,
and playing music.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. They do a lot of destruction. They don't really seem to create a lot of stuff. Just break it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of that montage, that was the other sort of logic hole that annoyed me, which I brought up in the trailer, is that how the fuck does that kid know how to speak English? It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Like, there should have been 100 ways they could have explained that.
Yeah, it was
Even
really
just a little cutaway. It just... And it's like kind of brought up multiple times that they can't understand... The Boxtrolls, the people can't understand Boxtrolls, and he's kind of this interpreter.
Yeah.
It was just, it really annoyed me every time that was brought up.
Yeah, that's a totally fair criticism, and you're right. And it would have been an easy fix too. Like,
I thought he was going to learn off like the records or something, or like something to do with the music, tying it in with the singing at the start.
Yeah, exactly. Or he like
nothing.
finds a book and slowly
teaches
learns to
himself.
read, or he listens to people because he feels a bit disconnected from the trolls because he looks different, or we're just rewriting the movie now. But I think all that stuff would have been a lot better.
I just feel like stuff like that. I mean, I suppose it could come off as cliche, and you're praising it for not being like a normal film, but I think it needs something. Like, it needed some kind of through line or something for me to latch onto, because I think I obviously had a harder time just with the visuals and the feel of it. Not in terms... it looks incredible technically and what it's doing, but that kind of... I guess it's the Gilliam thing we keep talking about, and that really cramped, cluttered... Like, it just
was that. The whole
makes
movie
my
was
skin
that.
crawl, and it instantly sort of turns me off.
Yeah.
And having said that, I did... Some of the gross out stuff I liked, like when his face was swelling.
Amazing.
The villain's face was swelling when he was eating the cheese.
Yeah. That was such a good scene. Like, the filmmaking is really, really good in this.
Like, that kind of reminds me of, splatter films, or, the kind of like gore stuff that
it
I
was
really
like gore. It
Yeah.
was like off-putting.
Yeah. So I kind of like that, but when it's relentless throughout the whole film, and it seems like there was only really a few different locations throughout the whole film. It never sort of broke out of the little town. On a personal level, that I think makes me feel uncomfortable and perhaps put me in a bit of a negative mindset. Do you know what I mean? And then without anything else to kind of latch onto throughout the film, it kind of alienated me the whole time.
Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from, but it worked for me despite the flaws. I just had I don't know, I was kind of in the world the whole time I was watching it, and I was laughing at the jokes and enjoying the kind of evilness of the characters. And, it's a weird thing to focus on, I guess, that I'm saying that I enjoyed the darker side of it. But I don't know, it just kind of captivated me a little bit. I've seen a few criticisms of this movie that there's not a lot of heart to it. Actually, and I think that's probably true. Like, I really wanted to connect and get emotional at certain parts, and that's just, it is missing that. Like, it's a cold film in many ways, and it seems like that has a really bad reaction to a lot of people, and then, for me it was like a disappointment, but it didn't ruin the experience or anything.
Another thing that felt out of place was the weird obsession with cheese as well.
I loved that. It was so bizarre. It was just like out of nowhere.
Exactly, that was my problem. I guess maybe it's again because I was in the wrong mindset, but that like annoyed me. It was like, why? What does this have to do? How does this tie in
but
with
that's just the
anything?
world that it's in. It's just like this, surreal fantasy place where cheese is like basically the currency or whatever of the place. Like, don't you find that just weirdly interesting?
I think it sat in a weird middle ground. Like, it was either it should have been focused. Like, it was focused on so much it felt really important, but then it wasn't explained enough for me to understand why. Whereas if it was just a couple of throwaway things, perhaps I wouldn't have cared so much.
Yeah.
But I felt like I wanted to know. Like every time I'd be like, what? Like why? What's going on here? And the giant cheese wheel at the end, it just seems to play such a big role in the film.
Yeah, I think the town is called like Cheeseburg or Cheesebridge or Cheesebridge maybe, something like that.
Do they make cheese there?
I don't know. They just really value cheese. but it's like a fantasy. Like I really like that. I don't want to know. Like I don't need a big setup or anything. I like being thrown into this world. It's like, why the fuck do they care about cheese so much?
Like, isn't it? I would kind of agree with that if there was other things that were as wacky.
Well, the Boxtrolls, they're not. Then that's not a real thing.
Yeah, but they're like a storybook monster that's in loads of fairy tales.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt it was another thing that stood out to me is I just found it annoying rather than endearing.
Okay.
Oh, you say you thought the film was funny. That was one of the. I thought some of the things were funny. I shouldn't say I didn't think it was funny. I thought some of the lines were funny. There was a particularly great one towards the end when the dad learns that the villain was cross-dressing the whole time. Was the woman that he was like pining for the whole film.
Yeah.
And he kind of has this moment of realization. He's like, "Oh, I regret so much."
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
That was hilarious. But yeah, in general, that's one thing I found fell flat. Like there was a gag early on that was about like, what was it? The street called like Curd's Way, and
oh man, that was a great joke.
And it was like the symbol for, and it felt like a shit Shrek joke that was cut from Shrek.
No, not at all. No, I think that's a good joke.
No, I hated
because
that.
She could have just said, "Oh yeah, it's after milk turns into Curd's Way or whatever." Like milk turns into it, like, and that's a joke enough as it is. It's like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then having that kind of it's a meta for a second, and then it's not because he like dropped his symbol. I thought that was really good. No, I totally disagree about that.
Instantly stood out for me as like made me cringe in the cinema.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Another thing I really liked about it was the this is just a total minor note, but I thought the Boxtrolls language was really cool, like the sound design and the way that had been sort of made. Like I just liked all their little noises and grunts and everything. Kind of reminded me of the Ewoks, but a little bit better. Yeah, in a good way, I guess. Yeah, and the sound design in general was pretty cool, I thought.
Did you think that the Boxtrolls were elevated above something like the Minions or something that we brought up in the trailer impressions?
Yeah, I think they were because they had more to do, kind of, and they did have a bit of a, I don't know if culture's the right word, but you saw into their lives.
They felt a bit more fleshed out.
Yeah, they felt a bit more fleshed out, and they had an arc where they became more independent or whatever and less scared.
I guess it's an unfair example because it's not like the Minions, the film is about them. And I sound like I fucking hate the Minions. I don't. They were a fun little throwaway gag in Despicable Me.
Yeah.
I hate the notion that that's where all animated films have to pitch their comedy now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my
it
beef
is
with it.
A
it's
real
not
thing.
With the Minions themselves.
Yeah. No, totally. And I haven't seen Despicable Me 2, but all the marketing is just like Minions. Yeah. And I think they were a massive part of the film because everyone loved them in the first. So... yeah, totally. But I don't think the Boxtrolls really went into that territory of like animation, cutesy, goofy little things running around.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I did, again, wish they were a little bit more developed, I guess, or just more. You had more variety in the individual characters of the Boxtrolls. I didn't feel like I really got to know any of them. I guess the father, by default, because he's the father, Fish, or whatever his name is, because of the box. Yeah. But I didn't really feel like I knew him at all.
No, me neither. I wanted more from that relationship as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This is just, again, like rewriting the film, but like, why couldn't they have a little symbol that they made to each other or a little item that they gave each other? Or there wasn't any real, like, visual connection really between them other than they were next to each other all the time. Like, even caring for him as a baby, you didn't really see him do that much. Like, yeah, I wanted more because when he gets captured, that's meant to be like quite an upsetting sort of moment.
Yeah.
And didn't really feel like one.
Yeah.
Did you like the voice acting? I thought the voice acting was great.
Actually. I really did like the voice acting. That's in my notes of one of the things I really liked. Ben Kingsley as the villain was awesome.
So good.
Unrecognisable.
Absolutely.
In a great way.
Yeah, totally. Like like we were saying earlier before we recorded, we thought it was Barry Humphries.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a theatrical, gross out kind of performance.
Yeah. I think along with like the technical feat and just the beauty of stop motion animation, the voice acting is the other thing that I really enjoyed about the film.
Yeah, I think all the characters had really unique, strong voices.
Yeah, I agree.
And like just on the note of the animation, like we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I just want to re-emphasize how freaking amazing it is.
I know.
Like the design and animation in this film is just spectacular, top notch.
I feel like I watched a couple of making of videos on YouTube last night. And I feel so bad for not liking this film because just so much effort goes into it. And I would almost recommend people see it just for that and just because it's something different. And actually, I do give it props for being an original. I mean, I think it's based on a book. Yeah. But, I mean, it's at least something different and
totally.
And new. And I'd recommend seeing this over some shitty CGI thing that's a sequel to, a million other films.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just made me feel really guilty for not liking it. I wanted to like it so much, but I just don't think it's a good film.
Yeah, I can understand that. I really liked did you say through the credits a little bit and see that awesome, existential question that the goons have at the end? Great. And the slow pull out just to like show how the set was. And oh man, that was so cool. I was like, had such a huge smile on my face when they did that. And it was really funny too.
Yeah, that was great. I really liked that little touch at the end.
Yeah. Because I guess that leads into another thing I was thinking when we were watching the trailer. I can't remember whether I actually said this or not, but with digital technology now, stop motion looks so good that it's kind of hard to tell if it is stop motion sometimes. And on a small screen, like looking at the trailer, there were some shots that looked almost CG because they're so smooth and fluid and everything. But I was really happy to see, as amazing as it was on the big screen, you could still see those little imperfections that come.
What makes it
with
great, though.
That's right. Yeah, I loved that. Yeah. And seeing like when the faces change, it's not totally smooth, and they do jitter a little bit, but all in a good way and in a way that adds to the technique, I guess. Yeah. It was just really.
I totally agree.
Great.
Though actually, having said that reminds me that there are a couple of effects and things that they have used CGI for.
Yes, I noticed those too.
Stand out.
Yep.
So
I was really
obviously.
disappointed actually that they used them.
What's with the CGI cows in that pull-away? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
long
were
shot?
they?
I'm sure they were.
I thought the same thing. They looked way too smooth and everything.
It was instantly apparent. As soon as they're on screen, they move. You're like, what the fuck? CGI cows.
And the fur looked kind of CGI on them too. I'd be so interested to know if they were.
That was CGI.
Yeah. And even things like, this is probably a dumb one, but like fire and smoke and stuff. Yeah. I was like, I kind of like the way that janky stop motion stuff looks. Like I wish they'd just done that instead.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of that's almost necessary.
Yeah.
Like it would be hard to do stop motion fog. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is really apparent once it's sitting right next to that amazing stop motion.
Yeah,
like, that just looks so incredible.
Yeah, yep, that's right.
I just wish more films were made in stop motion. How do you feel about the relationship between the girl and her dad?
I really liked most of it, actually, because it was just like, I don't know, I sound like I enjoy like watching people suffer or something, but it was like really cruel and like awful. I don't know. I like that their plan is like, we need a dad, we need a father, and they like go to that ball that's in the town hall or whatever, and he just and there's this big moment where everyone's listening to him, and he's like, I'm the Trumpshaw baby or whatever. Yeah. And they just all ignore him. Like, I thought that was really kind of refreshing, and I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah, I guess so. Though hearing you say that makes me think that I'm going back to harping on about the same points about like theme, like.
Yeah.
Is it about fatherhood?
I know. I was thinking the same thing when I was saying that out loud. I was like, but then it doesn't really go anywhere after that.
Exactly.
Like he has a tiny arc where he begrudgingly gives up his white hat to save her life.
Yeah.
Or to get her back.
And then that one line right at the end where he's like, that's my daughter or whatever. That's my weird daughter.
Yeah. No, yeah, that definitely could have been pushed further. But I just liked that just narrative twist, I guess, that it wasn't this plan that they made wasn't
because
working.
Like, to me, like that the pieces are there almost to make this interesting film about fatherhood, because it's about fish and eggs or whatever their names are, and then Eggs' actual dad, who's a psycho, the daughter and her dad who's a prick. That's true. Yeah,
I wonder if it started out more with more of that stuff.
Yeah, because then it seems to have just all been thematically just ripped out of the film, and there's like minor beats but nothing that resonates.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to know the history of the writing of this or
what the book's like.
Yeah,
what the book's about, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think I'm coming off as like really negative in this podcast. I remember having a fun time to an extent when I was watching it. You know, like I laughed at some stuff, but I didn't hate it. It's just it didn't connect with me, and then the more I thought about why and what was wrong with it, the more bigger problems sort of started emerging, which made me think less and less of it. I think it also probably didn't help that I watched Paranorman last night, and that's so good. Watch it.
Yeah, I really want to.
It's so
I will.
good. It's so much fun, and even kind of scary for a kid's film. It's great.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's helped my ranking of this. That's just pushed it down further, because I kind of like, I know what they can do, and it was like disappointing to think that they spend so much time on a stop motion film without polishing story and stuff. Usually it's almost the other way around. Like, that's what used to be great about Pixar, right? It's because they'd have so much time making the film.
That's
so
true.
much time to make the film.
Yeah.
They would polish and polish and polish and polish that script for years until you finally got the final product.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to know what happened with this.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I think maybe the world building and the animation and the weirdness of some of the characters just really
But when you say world building, what do you think it built
I do. I think it built this strange, surreal world that was just bizarre to be in for like an hour and a half. And I really enjoyed being in it. Like the cheese stuff, all that stuff.
But that was it. What else was there other than cheese? Cheese and trolls.
Yeah, well, that's enough, I think. I'm a simple man. I have simple tastes. I don't know. Like, it was enough for me. Like, this weird social structure and this villain that his whole thing was just that he wanted to be with the cheese tasters and building this big steampunk kind of robot thing. I don't know. It was just all delightful to me.
Like, it's interesting you should say that, actually, about the social structure, because at the very beginning, when they're having their meeting and you kind of realise that what the villain wants is this white hat, and there's these people called the White Hats, and they're obviously influential people within the society. I loved that. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, you know, this is really interesting. But then that's it. Like, you don't see any more about that. You don't understand even what their position is in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this thing called the White Hats. We only know it's important because the villain wants a white hat. And that's basically all it ever came down to.
Yeah. Well, they seem to decide on, like, laws and stuff.
Did they?
Or because he was like, he had a piece of paper in that early scene, and he's like,
oh, that's right.
We really
was, like,
should get
meant
to
be
this.
Voting or whatever. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that in some way they're like, the council, politicians.
Yeah, I don't know. See, like, I felt like it set up for something that could have been interesting, and then didn't go anywhere, or didn't go and do enough with it to please my tastes. You know what I mean? Like, I came out of it disappointed instead of, I don't know, happy with what it did. Yeah. Like, it seems like you were.
Yeah. So it seems like overall, this is one of the first times in the podcast that we've there's been a marginal difference in our opinions on a film. Yeah, it is good. And this is the first time that you've been wrong about something, which is really weird. No.
I think you're the one that's wrong.
I actually feel like probably like on a film theory level, you're right. But just for me personally, I really enjoyed.
Connected with
just connected with it for some reason. And it's not the best animated film of the year, and it won't be in my top 10 of the year probably, or any of that stuff. But I would encourage people to see it still.
And so would I actually. And I come off that I hated the film, which I didn't. I thought it was okay. I was just disappointed.
And I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, I think there's big problems with it, or at least I had big problems with it. But having said that, I still think it's a unique little film. The stop motion alone is worth going to check out because it looks fucking incredible. Yeah. And it's so rare to find a stop motion film these days.
Yeah, that's right.
So the more money it makes, the better, because then they'll start making more of them.
Exactly. Yeah. That was going to be my last point, was that like this is the least effective of the Laika features. Yeah. But I'm so excited for what they're going to do next, and hopefully it's a step up from this, even though I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Thanks for listening to the PrePost film review. We'd love to hear what you guys thought of the Boxtrolls, so please send us an email if you want to at prepostfilmreview@gmail.com and share your thoughts.
And we are on Facebook, so if you want to give us a like there, that'd be great. That helps us find new listeners.
It would be great. You're listening to this and you think everyone else is, but you should do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right now. Click that like button.
Yeah.
Also, subscribe to us on iTunes, because that helps boost our rankings and get us featured in the new and noteworthy and that sort of stuff. Leave us a review there as well if you like the show. We're also on Stitcher, so you can leave us a review there as well. And we now have a Twitter account, so follow us there. I think it's at PrePostFR.
Yep.
And we'll post semi-regular updates and the occasional tweet there.
We're also on Letterboxd, just another way you can get in touch with us. If you don't know, Letterboxd is a great sort of film community review website. Highly recommend it to anyone listening to this that isn't signed up to it, because it's just a great way.
And it's free to do as well.
It's free, yeah. It's a really great community there. Really sort of intelligent, smart reviews and real film buffs. It's great. It's a great place. So you can follow us there. Just look for our names. And we'd also love it if you guys would join us next episode, as we'll be discussing the new David Fincher film, Gone Girl. Thanks for listening. Like, this is the least good of the Laika films. That's great criticism there. This is the least good of the moving pictures.